I bought Bitcoin at around $7,000 and Ethereum at $150. Now, if you ask me how many supercars I own or what color is my Bugatti, well, I don't even own a car. That begs the question why I'm not super rich right now given that both Ethereum and Bitcoin went up 10-20 times. Well, the answer is all the mistakes I made, so stick to the end as I share my story and some of the most common traps people fell for when investing into crypto. It started when I was 22, a broke computer science student who fell for the oldest trick in the book, the get rich quick scheme, but this time with crypto. Don't get me wrong, I don't think crypto is a scam, but back then I couldn't care less about store of value or alternative financial system. I just wanted to make more money and fast. So with my spare $25 a month, I started buying Ethereum, Bitcoin and later on some altcoins. And right there is problem number one. With $25 a month I was accumulating painfully slow. Still, it was a start. As my income was growing, I invested more and more, and I kept buying no matter what the market was doing. Bull market, bear market, fear and greed index, I ignore it all. In fact, here's a sheet with all the data tracked. As you can see, there is a red period between 2022 and 2023. But other than that, I've always been positive. At its highest, the profit was around $23,000 or about 181% increase. Not bad if you ask me. Looking now at the latest data, my portfolio sits at around $22,000 with a $9,000 profit. So overall I'm still positive, but not as much as I could. Why? Well, in short, a lack of exit strategy. Buying and never selling is not enough, especially in a volatile market like crypto. You should define an exit strategy for yourself, as in, at what price point you are going to sell the accumulated asset. In my mind, I was foolish enough to think crypto worked like an ETF. You just invest, hold forever and someday you take out millions. As foolish as that was, it was not even the main problem, because then I started buying altcoins. You see, at some point I wasn't buying Ethereum and Bitcoin anymore, I was taking the profit from them and dumping big sums into random altcoins. This was during the GameStop saga, so fear of missing out was everywhere, and that was a serious case of it. Take Sandbox, I bought it convinced that the metaverse was the future and I was early on the next big thing. Today it's down 92%. Other honorable mentions, Cardano, Atom and eGold, all in the red. Overall, they sum up to around $7,000 lost. Not a fortune, but very relevant for your early 20s. Looking back, investing into altcoins was for sure my number one mistake. Despite that, overall my portfolio is still green, thanks to Ethereum, Bitcoin and a few other exceptions. Moreover, in the past years I actually stopped investing into crypto from my personal money. In fact, if you look at the spreadsheet, I stopped back in 2023. I still buy monthly between $100 and $500 worth of crypto, but I use my stablecoin reserves. Those reserves were built by learning from my mistakes and applying an exit strategy over the last 3 years. Now, if you're wondering how my portfolio looks right now, 55% is in Bitcoin with an average price of $33,000, 34% is in Ethereum with an average buy price of $1,800, and the rest is in other altcoins I want to get rid at some point. Okay, so what are you telling a solution is buy Bitcoin, Ethereum and get rich? That's it? No, this is just my story and what it led to. Looking back, those early $25 I put each month, I would rather have put into myself, into experiences and actually improving my skills. Yes, I will still invest into crypto as I'm doing today, but much later in my personal finance journey, and only after the boring fundamentals were handled first, like setting up an emergency fund, getting my expenses in line and investing into ETFs first. And here's the thing about crypto in general. Online, opinions are basically split into two camps. On one side, you got the fanatics who think everything is going to the moon and you are an idiot if you're not buying crypto. On the other side, you got the people who think the whole market is a scam and anyone in it is getting played. Honestly, I think both camps are wrong. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Crypto is neither a magical money printer nor a scam. It's a high-risk asset with real opportunities and real ways to lose your money, and I'm a living proof of both. So, don't be a fanatic, but don't be a hater. Be the boring person in the middle who actually makes some money. In the end, this was not a get-rich story. It's a story of how a broke student bought crypto near the bottom and still didn't get rich, because buying early was never the hard part. If I could talk to that 22-year-old me, I wouldn't tell him to buy more Bitcoin, I would tell him to take those $25 a month and bet them on himself first. Crypto can wait. With that said, let me know in the comments what is the dumbest altcoin you ever bought, and please don't tell me I'm the only one sitting on a 90% loss on Polkadot and Sand.